am Orlando Jones, and I just want you to know that the Moana Nui podcast will be starting soon. Stay tuned, yo.
I'm Veronica Taylor, and from myself and Ash Ketchum, I just want to say, Moana Nui, I choose you!
Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the Moana Nui podcast here live on the Agents of Geekdom. Let's see. It is Thursday, March 23rd. That's where we're at. It's been a long day, y'all. So you're going to have to excuse me if I don't have it all together tonight. But I am really excited for tonight's topic. I told the guest, like, I failed the assignment. I didn't watch the movie yet. So I'm going to look forward to hearing more, to hear about like this wonderful movie that I'm excited, I really want to see, but just haven't had time to do it yet. But before we go ahead and do that, let me just introduce myself real quickly. My name is Moana. I am the founder and host of the podcast here. Normally joined by my sis, Dana Morgan, who is not with us tonight, but we are sending her good vibes as she is taking care of some personal business. And let's see. We love the Agents of Geekdom. Hope you guys will like, share, and support the content from the show. It is a group of indie creators bringing the best of indie pop culture and indie comics and creatives and pop culture to all of you from various aspects. And lots of wonderful shows to check out on the network. So hope you guys will do that. For us here at the Burning Spear, we are kind of gearing up for our first con appearance. I will be headed home to Hawaii for Kauai Comic-Con on April 8th, and really excited to be a special guest there and, kind of go back to the community where I am from and do some outreach with the kids and share our comic book series there. So if you are in Hawaii and you're on the island of Kauai and are around April 8th, please come on down and see me. I will have all of our books available and I'll be doing signings and still working on having a special activity for the kids on the main drawing floor. So still in the works on that, but definitely come on down. It's going to be a lot of fun. One of the guests that we're having is Ming Chen, who's well known for his role on Comic Book Men. We also have an older guy, but I'm blinking on his name, but he was in Kikaida, which is one famous Japanese series. So lots of cool stuff. We have a band cosplay contest, and I just think it's gonna be fun. So check us out there. And Dana and I are planning our May Heritage Month panel programming. We have some great topics for you all and some great guests. And if things align, we should have a Kickstarter launching for the podcast so folks can come on out and help us support and continue running this show. Alrighty, that was a lot of announcements tonight. So let's get started. I am going to bring up our guest tonight. It is our wonderful Marvel After Dark panel, and Kyle is going to be leading us tonight as our moderator. Hello. We will also be joined by James, Teresa, and Joy. Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
All righty. So Kyle, I'm gonna let you take it away, and I'm gonna drop back and moderate the comments and things. So if you're watching, please feel free to join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts on this movie too, and take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Moana.
Yep.
First and foremost, I'm excited to be here to talk about this movie. This movie was awesome in my opinion. So first, I want to go around the panel. Like, kind of introduce yourselves, our illustrious panel here. So, Teresa, start with you.
I don't know what to say. I'm Teresa from the DC versus Marvel panel. I give my point of view from the non-comic book reader aspect. I just love the movies. I love a good superhero movie. And I love a good movie, actually.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here, because, something of a movie buff. So I'm here to give my 2 cents. I hate that I didn't fill in my title here. We got everybody else has their title,
I don't.
Killmonger
See, I don't.
versus Kang. But see, I wanted to put in mine. I wanted to put Teresa is tired. And I should have put that in there
You can
because
still
I'm
do
hanging on by a string.
You can still do it.
But that's it.
All right. The next guest we have here is Joy. Joy, want to introduce yourself, please?
No, I'm kidding. Hello, everyone. My name is Joy Stevens. I am not really Kang's baby mama. I just could not remember the name of Jonathan Major's character in Creed. So I rock with what I knew. I forgot it. The not Creed. But anyway,
Damian.
I'm gonna stick with Kang.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with Kang. There's so many things you can do with Kang. You'll be hearing me make references to this later. But so to be official, my name is Joy Stevens. I am a diversity, equity, inclusion consultant to major corporations across the United States and across the world. I am a business owner, a recovering engineer, and currently happy-go-lucky in the beautiful city of Atlanta. I too have had a long day, and sometimes when you had a long day, you try to find ways to, we'll call it self-medicate in order to relax. And sometimes you don't know what you're doing. And so good luck, everybody.
Everybody, not you, everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, this is similar to like lactose intolerant people who drink milk. It's not my problem. It's y'all. Right? Y'all had to deal with me. Good luck.
All right. Thank you for that introduction, Joy. James, you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
I'm James. I am a DC Marvel geek. I won't say fanatic. Spider-Man fanatic, mostly. Hardcore sports junkie. Junkie is implied, and deliberate. Football primarily. So yeah. And I'm ready to talk about Killmonger versus Kang because wow.
And I am Kyle. I am a pro paint. I sell pro paint and pro paint accessories at your local Sherwin-Williams. I am a Marvel fan, DC fanatic. Let's see, sports enthusiast, film buff, love films. So when this movie came out, I was like, this is definitely one for sure that I had to check off my list for this year. And I was not disappointed. So, all right, let's get started. So I think the first question I want to kind of ask, has anyone seen all the previous Rocky movies?
Yep.
Prior to the Creed universe.
Even the bad ones.
All of them except the one where Rocky's son was grown. But I did see the best scene from that because it played across the internet for a long time.
All right. And then everyone's well versed on the previous two Creed movies, right? So Creed 1, Creed 2. Okay. So Teresa, you said no.
No. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't notice, but no, I have not seen
Notice now.
other two Creed movies.
All right, so James and Joy. So comparing because at this point we are at a trilogy point with Creed 1, Creed 2, and Creed 3. Well, compared to the previous Rockies, Rocky 1, Rocky 2, and Rocky 3. How would you compare the two? Would you say one is greater than the other? Would you say they're fairly equal? How would you compare them?
I don't know if I call them all equal. kind of like the first 3 Rocky movies, each one ramped up the stakes. I would say the entertainment value in each of the 3 Creed films elevated. You know, you were excited when you first heard, oh, they're doing the Creed movie about Apollo's kid. All right, how does this work? Because which one of his sons is it? Because if you remember, I think it was even there in Rocky.
Don't nobody remember that.
For those who are old enough, if you remember, I want to say Rocky 4, where Apollo meets his demise.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. You know, I'm gonna break you. There's a scene where I think Rocky comes to Apollo's house or vice versa, whatever, whoever's house it is. You can see Apollo's kids in the background playing around.
Right.
So, say all that to say, you're trying to figure out how this works because that was in the 80s. Those kids would be grown as hell right now, like 40-ish or something close to it. Why are we making the film? So when this whole thing came about, and you know, he has, you know, kid with a side chick or a groupie, if you will, whatever. Yeah, happens to be Michael B. Jordan's character. It doesn't completely tarnish what was established in the Rocky films about Apollo, but it is a change of pace of the lackluster ending to the Rocky series we got. Because let's be real, after Rocky 5, everything was trash.
Yeah.
Wait, how many were there?
There were 7. Or were there 7 Rockies?
Yes.
7.
I stopped at 4.
I think there were 7 Rockies because the last
there were 6.
Oh, Rocky Balboa.
I was wondering, like, Rocky goes to space. Like, what did they do for 7?
Right.
No,
Rocky X.
In Rocky Balboa, he comes out of retirement because it was one of those things where the current heavyweight champion
I'm already
Mason Dixon himself as like the GOAT, and boxing analysts were like, well, we did a simulation between the current champion and Rocky Balboa, and
Rocky came out of retirement.
Right, and he came out of retirement for a 3-round exhibition, and the boxer in that film was played by Antonio Tarver, actual boxer, middleweight class, I believe. And, you know, after the first round, he's looking at Rocky like, yo, what are you doing? It's supposed to be a friendly exhibition. Like, I'm not trying to basically the character that Tarver's playing is in a no-win situation because you can't lose a 3-round exhibition to Rocky Balboa, but at the same time, you can't knock an old man out.
Yes, you can.
Right. Yeah, you can.
It would have been exactly 9 minutes long.
So yeah, I would say the entertainment value of each of the 3 Creed films elevated from the previous one. So
Okay. Joy, what do you think?
So if you would mind, if you can put up Latoya F's comment, I want to speak to that when she was like, there's no comparison to the Rocky films for me because of the Black experience that they depicted so well, specifically in Creed 3. Yeah. So I'll be talking about this for the rest of the night, but she's right. I do think that it is an apples and oranges situation. And I also think that we're not looking at an evolution of the Rocky franchise. These could very well stand alone. If I never knew who Rocky was, that first movie is still good. The second movie, honestly, I thought was better. And I do believe that they have improved in their character development and entertainment value all the way through. Eye candy notwithstanding. And I think that the character development in these movies is better. The first movies, I can't tell you what happened in Rocky 1, 2, and 3. I know he lost something at one point, and then Clubber Lang was in there saying, I pity the fool. That all runs together. There was some Rocky movies, and then if he dies, he dies. And then I don't know what they did after that, and nobody cares, right? Yeah. They probably let it go on for too long. Same way they did with Rambo. Why is Stallone still playing Rambo, by the way? But we ain't got Son of Rambo yet. What are we doing? with these Creed movies, you've got the backstory, the understanding, a little bit more understanding of why he wanted to become a boxer in the first place. The character development is so much deeper, which makes the movie richer for me. And then I know Rocky, Sylvester Stallone was nominated for an Oscar with his portrayal of Rocky. I believe that, what's my baby name? Wallace. I believe that Wallace, what's his name?
Michael B. Jordan.
Thank you. I believe that Michael B. Jordan has done a really good job of portraying the nuanced Black male character that struggles with, dealing with previous trauma, misunderstandings, dealing with your own emotions in a world that tells you that you can't feel anything but anger, and how he takes it out. All of that hit for me in the first one. Seeing him cry in the second movie when he was like, how am I going to face my daughter? That was so good. And then this movie, as opposed to this third movie, I walked out and I put this on Facebook. This movie was almost perfect for me. And Black men, y'all need to go to therapy. I'm just saying. All of y'all need some help. You can't just keep whooping ass until you get through your problem.
I mean,
no.
I will say this. So yes, the last thing you said about this third film, yes, Black men go get therapy. Absolutely, wholeheartedly, especially men in my age range, mid 40s and up, especially.
Because men younger than that have no problem getting therapy. It's them 40 and 50-year-olds is messed up.
Right. And because again, we came up in an era where basically you weren't allowed to express yourself, how you're feeling. Your anger just stayed festered. Deal with it, channel it into something else, do something constructive with it. Don't express it or anything like that. And
all emotion was expressed through violence.
Right.
If you're angry, punch something. If you're happy, wrestle something. If you love somebody, pin them to the ground. Like it was the same shit.
And that's how our friendships pretty much develop amongst Black men. We fight each other. Like you said something about my mama's cousin's second baby sister. So we got to scrap and we're going to be cool afterwards. All right. We got it all out our system because we knocked each other out.
And let's not also discount the Black women that have to love y'all raggedy asses through all this. So I appreciate
we love you too.
I appreciate Tessa Thompson's character in all the movies because she gave him space to grow into his own understanding. And even in this movie, you can tell he's been doing the work, as they say, with therapy. You can tell that Adonis has been doing it. Dame, bruh.
Well, Dame was locked up for 17 years before this film.
That's the thing, is you got to know you need therapy to see it. Yeah.
And in this film, you could see Adonis coming to the realization, like, yeah, I do need, because now his wife is like, I've given you space before. You need help. You need to talk to somebody because this can't happen again, especially not around our daughter. So,
it was reminiscent to me. They did a better job than, I'm going to pull a weird reference, Luke Cage season 2, where they tried to show Luke Cage being angry and violent around the nurse. What's her name?
Night nurse.
Night nurse.
That is not her name.
That's the character's name.
That's her code name.
Rosario Dawson is the
Thank you. And she talked about how when he punched the wall, she was like, I've been in situations where the guy I'm with or the guy I know has punched the wall and ends up punching me, and so she left. And they talked about that inability to correctly channel your emotions. But it was heavy-handed, and they didn't spend enough time on it. I thought they did a better job in this movie. Better budget, whole different production studio, but I thought they did a good job. And let's remember, this is Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut.
Right.
Killed it. So I fully expect to see some Oscar nod or Golden Globes or something for this next year.
Yeah. So I know. So I'm a huge fan of the Rocky. I'm a really big fan of the Rocky franchise. Watching the first 2 movies, I actually got a chance to, just rewatch a couple of the movies prior to seeing this movie. I will say the third iteration of this movie, Creed 1, Creed 2, and Creed 3, in my opinion, are superior to the first 3 Rockies. So, just in my opinion, from a villain standpoint, I'm huge. Like, in my opinion, a good villain, a good hero is only as good as his villain. So when you have a top tier, well fleshed out villain, I think that makes for a great movie. That makes for a great hero. The character that we got in Dame for this movie, better than any villain we've gotten in the Rocky franchise. Better than Ivan Drago, better than Clubber Lang, because he wasn't a cartoon.
Right.
He wasn't a cartoon. He wasn't a caricature. He was someone you could actually believe actually exists.
He was a developed character too.
Exactly.
And you didn't really get any backstory on Ivan Drago, and he was more, like you said, he was more of a character than a caricature.
Correct.
Right. They're all the previous villains, at least the antagonists in these movies have been, versions of Punch Out, right? Just the next biggest bad person to beat up.
Not Punch Out.
And with Drago's son, you got a whole backstory. I know when this kid was born. I know his parents. I know what he's been through. I know that this kid is just fresh out, and I know what Adonis has been through because I know. And again, this does put those two series together. I remember Apollo. So now I'm watching Apollo's kid. So I know that backstory, the shoes he had to fill, etc. This is a better set of movies. And I believe that Michael B. Jordan has been taking notes from his homeboy, Ryan Coogler. Because didn't Coogler do the first one?
The first two films.
First two.
I feel like he left a set of notes, like some cheat sheets for this is how you direct a movie well.
Yeah, I think Coogler did some writing on the third one.
He did.
Okay.
Yes, he got I know he got executive producer credit for this film, and I think I saw his name in the writer's credit.
Yep. So I'd say even the first Creed film, even though your villain in Pretty Ricky Conlon isn't like really fleshed out, I think that movie you get more of the relationship with Adonis and Rocky, and I think
I think the villain. I don't think there's a villain in the first Creed film. I think, like Joyce said, she used the word antagonist. I think the antagonist in the first Creed film is himself.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I can agree with that.
He's struggling with his identity. When we start that movie, we get the flashback of, Felicia Rashad's character being recast as Apollo's widow, coming into the juvenile detention center and getting him out, taking him home, whatever. And then we flash forward, and he's in a suit and a tie working in an office, and he feels choked off and confined, like this isn't me. And he immediately just it's like we see him on a day where he's reached his breaking point. He just bounces, immediately goes to the gym and is pissed off and is like, I'll fight anybody in here, bring it. And he starts knocking out all the top fighters in the gym for no good reason other than he's frustrated because he doesn't know what to do with himself. So
and there's that uncontrolled and unexplained anger.
I would say the first Creed film, he is his literally pretty much any human being walking the face of the earth. You are your own worst enemy.
And then the love of a good woman helped him get his life together.
And I was wrong earlier. There are 6 Rocky films, not 7. Sorry, 6.
It's still 3 too.
Yeah.
So I got a question for everybody.
Yeah, because like that was it. Who was the antagonist in the fifth? Tommy Gunn one.
Tommy Gunn, yes, because Rocky's now past boxing. He's broke, lost all his money, and he finds a kid to train.
Yeah. I remember first watching that one. It was like really disappointing we didn't get actual fight.
Is Kyle frozen for everybody else?
Yes.
Kyle! You're back.
You back, Kyle?
Nope.
Okay.
I have a question for the rest of y'all. Do you want to see more Creed movies, or do you think they should end with the perfect trilogy?
You're lagging, Kyle. There's a bit of a lag over there. Joy, to answer your question, they could end it here. Actually, they could have ended it at the end of the second film. The fact that we got a third was a pleasant and welcome surprise. But if you look at how Creed 2 ends, that could have been the end of everything because of how it wraps up. And it's dealing with basically sons dealing with the legacies of their dads, because I'm fighting this dude whose dad killed my dad, but he's not really that bad of a dude considering they became friends in the time frame between 2 and 3.
Right. And he didn't do anything to my dad. He's got his own. So that is breaking a generational curse in that second movie.
So in this film, we got the same thing. We have a closing resolution to the issues at hand between Adonis and Damian. And it could end right here, or we could get a fourth film. But considering how they trek through these 3 films, this film starts off with his final fight and him going into retirement to groom the next generation of boxers, and then coming out of retirement after 3 years have passed to take down Dane. Considering how well they crafted the history of injuries he took in the previous 2 films, broken orbital socket, broken hand, cracked lung, cracked ribs. and everything else he had to deal with, and how he had to box around all those things. That was actually a callback to what Rocky. Unfortunately, I'm bringing up a Rocky film. The last Rocky film, Rocky Balboa, when he was fighting Antonio Carver's character in that movie. Again, he's like knocking 60 as Rocky in that movie, and they're talking about you got nothing in your knees. Your hands basically have like calcium deposits and all this other stuff or whatever like that.
That's what I was gonna say.
You can't punch or do anything. Like you're old and you're brittle. Like you'll be lucky if one punch doesn't break your ribs, not crack them, type thing. And that was pretty much the same thing that they were telling Adonis in this film. Here are all your injuries. These are all the things Dame's going to attack. So for him to be the focal character, no. But like Toya said, if time passing and you want to go with his daughter through the amateur ranks, because she looked to be about what, like 8, if you will, in this movie. That's a thing. And his daughter, did anybody else side with Adonis when they went after his daughter knocked out the little girl who ripped up his paint?
Of course.
Like, I'm looking at the teacher like, I'm with Adonis. Where's the little girl who ripped my daughter's paint up? Why aren't you talking to her parents?
And again, when we talk, go ahead.
And
she was a little junior Karen in the making. She needed slapping.
Some people need a whooping, and if your parents are gonna give it to you, I will.
Right.
But, I also think when we talk about how this portrays the Black experience, that disparity in punishment, potentially not explicitly, but potentially based on skin color, came up here. Why is my kid the only one in here when she started ripping up my kid's paper? And that my kid deserved to defend herself or to stand up for her own rights. She used her fists, but don't come in here messing with my stuff. Don't touch nothing that belongs to me.
I wasn't bothering you. I was sitting here coloring, minding my business, and
stay out of my personal space.
Can't step up to get beat down.
Knuckle sandwiches for everybody.
Yeah, these hands are ready. Everybody. Shout out to my baby on TikTok.
Basically, you don't start none, won't be none.
Facts.
Right. She literally stepped around and found out.
Exactly.
So I know the beginning parts of this movie, where we get the first fight the rematch between Adonis and Ricky Conlon, the visual aspect of it. So I smile at that point. So I know Michael B. Jordan has a really big like anime influence. So usually when you think of like movie directors, right, they talk about their influences, whether it be like Spielberg or Stanley Kubrick, people like that. But now you're starting to see more diversity as far as people producing films, people that are a little bit younger, people that have like young Hollywood starting to make films, and you're starting to see some of their influences. So like with Adonis is bobbing and weaving, and like time is slowing down, and he's like looking at the body, different parts of the body he can kind of dissect to go after. Anime influences. I love that. I absolutely love
the slow motion.
I absolutely love that.
I also like that they hitting each other for real. And did anybody make the connection, since we're talking Killmonger and Kang, that they had their final fight on the ancestral plane?
Yeah.
I loved it.
Indeed, and for both of those points, the ancestral plane in the final fight and the opening fight, even in Damian's fight, you can see the anime influence of how the characters are bobbing and weave. Because typically when you see, and I'm not talking about like a Dragon Ball Z type fight or anything like that. I'm talking about like action anime where fighting is a key point and it's nothing really high speed. It's actual like whether it's sword play or fisticuffs or anything like that. How the characters tend to slow things down to see what's coming at them or anything like that. You saw that all throughout pretty much every single fight in here. Just even the opening fight, you can see the expression on Michael B. Jordan's face every time is like the character, his opponent threw that same combination, and he would duck it. He'd be like, "Wait, I'm seeing things. Nah. He ain't gonna throw this combo. I'm gonna take this punch. I'm gonna take this punch. Wait, it's the same. Wait, that again?"
Yeah.
And then he goes to his corner, and his corner man is like, what are you out there doing? And you see his wife sign to him, like, stop playing around, knock him out.
Yeah.
He's like, I got him where I want him. You know, stop tripping. Checkmate. Oh, checkmate? Yeah, checkmate. So as soon as he comes out, throws like combo again, it's like boom, right in the kidneys. After that, it was just lights out.
One of the beauties of anime-driven style like that is you are able to understand the thought process of somebody by what they're paying attention to. Because if they just film that, even if they filmed it in slow motion, I don't know that I'm supposed to be looking at how he's leaving himself open. But slowing it down and watching him focus on that over and over again. Oh, he's going to hit him there. It's foreshadowing visually. I love it.
Yeah,
I still
absolutely.
don't know to be this high. I'm very proud of myself.
Another thing that, because like, so prior to seeing this movie, I listened to a podcast where Jonathan Majors got a chance to talk about his portrayal of his character, and the physicality of his character. So him building up his comparison between him and Adonis, him building up that physique, you know, being in a prison.
He looks fresh out.
Yeah. See him like being in a prison for 17 years, you having to build up that physique to stay alive. You know, those muscles aren't vanity muscles. Those muscles are built to help you survive. You know, the shoulders, you know, built to hold the weight of that. It's just like, it's crazy. And just listening to, you know, him develop that fighting style that he had in the movie, similar to like Tyson, to where he's like very close to the chest.
Yeah.
And the way
all power.
All power. And I love that because it's like he also pointed to like his stepfather was in prison for a prolonged period of time. So being able to, you know, portray that character of Dame is almost like an homage or a love letter to his stepfather. I really appreciated that because I was like, you're really getting to see his acting chops, you know, on full display. And like that kind of, I'm not gonna lie, left a bad taste in my mouth after watching Quantumania because I'm just like, yo, like, they did my boy dirty. They did him dirty.
You don't have to let that go, man.
But no. With this movie, and then I know with Magazine Dreams coming out, and I'm really glad he's able to really show off his acting.
Yes, naked. We do appreciate it. Now I do think he's a butterface, but I'm loving neck down.
There's something very like rugged and very just like,
he looks like civil rights.
Yeah, he does. He looks, I was gonna say, like purely just motherland in his face, and I can appreciate that.
He looked like he marched with King.
He looks like civil rights.
I'm okay with that.
I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. And it's not just the features themselves; it's how they all come together. It's the soulful, sad eyes that say, "I'm tired, but I'm willing to keep going." He's very emotive too. He's got that same ability that I see in Rami Malek, the dude that played Freddie Mercury, where they can say absolutely nothing and carry a scene with the emotion in their face. If you haven't seen Devotion, which is Jonathan Majors' other movie that came out last year, early this year.
Yeah, the fighter pilot.
No, was it this year?
There were moments in that movie where he didn't say a word, and I almost cried.
Yeah, right. I can imagine.
Yeah, it was. I thought his portrayal of Dame was really good. I thought the actor that played the young version of Dame was really good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
I also like to your point about, you know, spending an extended amount of time in prison, that whole idea of how angry you will be to watch somebody else live the life you planned for yourself.
Right.
One thing to know you messed up, you know, you've been banging your whole life and you go to jail, you didn't expect to live past 23 anyway, but to be at the prime of the beginning of your career, because he was about to take off.
Yeah, about to go pro.
And then what I like, and I hope I know I'm about to spoil it for you, but everybody should have seen it by now. But what I like is that ultimately he comes to realize you did it to yourself, son. Anybody told you bring a gun up here? You could have just jumped in the fight and been fighting, but no, you decided to pull, and you didn't run fast enough. Everybody know you run when it comes. And matter of fact, you still ain't fast enough, which is why you lost his foot. You need to work on your agility. So you need agility +5. Damn it. But you know, coming to grips with the idea that this wasn't anybody else's fault but your own.
Right.
Nobody put that gun in your hand. Nobody told you to do what they did. But watching someone live a life you plan for yourself had to be particularly painful and traumatizing. And understanding the anger, misplaced but absolutely potent, that he had for all of that. I believed him. And I hated Jonathan Majors for a good portion of this movie. Like, ooh, you ain't. And watching how he made moves, watching how he never really let go of that thug mentality.
Never.
All of us have friends that can't get out the hood because the hood is in their mind, not necessarily in their environment. I saw all of that with him, and that's a whole lot to portray in a few scenes with a few looks. And that's why Jonathan Majors is a rare actor. He is a rare talent. I really commend him for what he's able to do.
Now, you mentioned all that, and I want to piggyback on that a little bit, because one of the key things to his anger and everything that he threw back in the face of Adonis was after he won the title, and Adonis figured out that this was all a setup after his mom was like, these are all the letters he sent, and I wanted to keep him away from you, whatever. He's looking in the picture and realizes the guy who broke Drago's hand was one of Dame's boys from prison, goes to confront him, calls him out on it. And he's like, yeah, I did. And to your point, Joyce says all that, watch somebody live your life while you're locked up and everything. And as Adonis tries to walk away, he hits him with something Adonis pretty much took umbrage with in the first film. Baby Creed. And that cut deep to go all the way back to the first one. Because remember, in the second film, no one's calling him Baby Creed.
Right.
But in the first movie, everybody's calling him Baby Creed. Remember, he went to go to Tessa Thompson's character has like a music show or whatever, and backstage with some artist, and he's like, oh, big ups, yeah, this your homie, yeah, let me get a photo real quick. Good job, Baby Creed, keep doing it. It's like, yo, man, don't call me back. Oh, no, it's all love, Baby Creed. You want to be like, oh, really? Stop calling me that. So he to some extent, it still stings to hear that for him, So I thought that was a very emotional, for not a lot happening. That was a very pivotal and emotional scene there. Yeah. And then he just sucker punches him out of nowhere. So that I love the storytelling in so little happening, but saying so much to what the callback is a reference to.
Yeah. So I went to go see Creed 3 with my girlfriend. She loved Jonathan Majors, Jonathan Majors' character, loved the portrayal of it. But she was upset with Michael B. Jordan at the end of that movie because she felt Michael B. Jordan didn't have to take the championship away from Damian.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. He had to.
Yes, he did.
That's what Dame wanted. The only way to hurt somebody is to take what they love most. That's the only way to hurt them. Dame, pretty much from the moment he got out and is introduced in this film, all he wants is a title shot. He doesn't care who it's against. He doesn't care who has it. He wants that title shot. Everything he did was to get a title shot. Even playing his so-called, homie from the hood. If I gotta play you to get what I want, I'm gonna do that. If I gotta hurt this dude in the ring to show you your boy who's champion ain't squat, I will do that. If I gotta, do dirty, underhanded stuff to win this fight and cripple him in this ring, I will do that. Like the hunger in him was all for getting that belt. So yeah, you got to take that title from him.
Not only that, but as I started with my first comment, all black men go get some therapy. If you don't take that title from him, he feels justified and vindicated for all the bullshit he's done up to that point. Because I told you I was the best, and look at me now, I'm the best, no matter how I got here. This way, I thought I was the best, but everything I did, everything I tried, all the underhanded, dirty shit that I did left me back in the same spot with nothing. And I've lost a friend, potentially. He hit rock bottom. Yeah. That was the only way he was going to do that. And now
so you think he beat his ass to more or less like to help him?
To stop him from being worse, because anybody who doesn't face their own demons, they get bigger and stronger. What could he have done as a title owner to the next person that wants the title fight? He's killing people in the ring after this.
Right. Because we see that he's got that thuggery in him. So, I mean, the only way to stop it is to beat him.
And look, you can tell from Adonis's lines in this film, when he's finally, talking to Tessa Thompson, his wife about this, like, in some way, I feel responsible. you know, because he got locked up, but I ran away. This is still like, it may not be on me, but I feel like it's on me. So I have to fix this, because no matter what the outside says, and the outside can say it's not your fault, you did nothing wrong, you looked out for yourself. But for him internally, that stuck with him all this time. And he put out, you know, it was out of sight, out of mind until he saw him. And then it was like all this guilt welled up. Like, let me help him out. Let me put him up in the gym. Let me sponsor him. Let me train him. Let me do this. Like, he's thinking, I'm doing all these things because I owe this dude, because he served time that I probably should have served too.
Right.
And that's another thing, like Latoya was saying, like, he was big enough to fight that dude that attacked Adonis without pulling a gun, but he chose to pull a gun. That made his sentence worse. They might have both gotten off with just straight battery assault, right?
Right.
Instead of going down for possession with intent or whatever it might have been. That no, that's drugs, possession with intent. Anyway, firearms and all of that. He made it worse, and he also had the option of letting Adonis get his ass whooped and watching from the car. You know, they're like,
I mean, it's true. Because Adonis really had it handled. I mean, because the old man.
Well, he had it handled until the dude's backup showed up.
Well, yeah.
And if Adonis was running, you should have ran in. You run back to the car. There was a lot of other options people could do.
But 3-on-1 on a kid, and Adonis is like supposedly 13, 14 at that point. So, you know, you can't let 3 grown men beat up a 14-year-old.
I mean, he started it. I'm just saying.
Yes, he did. But I mean, again, that goes back to that anger and rage, the group home they were staying in. So
it was a bunch of bad decisions that night.
Yeah. There was a bunch of bad decisions. So the trigger of seeing a dude who basically abused you in a group home, and now you can actually defend yourself.
Right.
Nope. Trust me, at 14, any 14-year-old would take that shot. Like, yeah, I can whoop this dude's ass now. Yo, remember me? Pop, and I do it again. Pop, pop, pop. Just keep over and over. Just
if he'd have been alone, there'd have been lights out for that dude.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that you have brains versus brawn the entire time, because even in one of the earlier fights, Adonis was talking about, you know, basically listen to your corner and watch for the hook, right, for the whole thing. And you're seeing at the end of the movie, Damian's definitely more powerful. He hits like Tyson, right? He's a anvil and a glove. But I'm gonna come to that in a second. But Adonis is like, I'm going to be smarter than you, because he goaded him into that fight in the first place by going on TV to make himself a target, baited him into the whole thing. He planned that out, and it's the planning that won the championship, not the raw power. You know, so now you got to find, as we said, a more creative and more productive way to use all this anger and violence and power that you got inside you. You know.
Yeah. So let's talk about the conversation between Adonis and his wife. I know for me, as far as it hit me, it pretty much got to my pew.
There's more to this comment to try to get your man to talk to you instead of living in anger. That's the rest of it. But yeah, leave this part up.
Yeah, I was gonna say as far as communication, because I know communication as far as in my relationship it was an issue until I had to address, like, hey, I need to communicate more with my partner, and be more open as far as like my feelings and as far as what's going on with me. So I appreciate that, them addressing that in this movie with this character, because it's like, you're a fighter, but at the same time, you have a partner who's over here trying to understand, what's going on with you, and she's not really getting a backstory as far as what's going on with the past between you and Dame. So like I said, I really appreciate the fact that this film managed to do that and show a more vulnerable side to Adonis. So yeah.
I also like, and I apologize if this is triggering for anyone, but I also like the fact that for a good portion of that movie, I thought he had been sexually molested in that home, because that is what a traumatic story tends to be, and that's one of the tropes that Hollywood falls back on. I like that he got beat up a lot, to within an inch of his life, and it was physical abuse and not sexual abuse. I like that they didn't take that easy route too.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
because it lets you see that abuse is abuse, and that you can be traumatized by all kind of violence and not just sexual violence. Because I want people to understand that trauma takes a whole lot. There's a whole spectrum of it, and not just this one thing that we tend to go to as the only excuse for adult problems is if you had sexual trauma in your background. There's a whole lot of reasons people be jacked up when they hit 30 for something that happened when they were 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
But no, Kyle, you're right. Being in relationships and, you know, having anger and not being able to express it, it's not cool. And as someone who is currently in therapy, yes, it helps because you have an outlet now that is, you know, not going to judge you, not going to make any snap decisions, will openly listen to you, would help you feel. And sometimes you don't feel that way in your relationships, no matter how good or close they are, because you feel like, well, I've known this person X number of years. If I tell them this thing from my past, they will judge me. Mm-hmm. Will they let me be me? Will they let me be vulnerable? So yeah, while they didn't show him actually going to therapy, I feel like, you know, should there be a fourth film and it, you know, if it does center around his daughter being an amateur boxer or whatever, maybe they'll show some scenes of him being in therapy or something like that.
Or running a home or something for other kids who are on the edge, you know. But the thing about therapy, and this is another PSA to Black men out there, your girlfriend is not your therapist.
No. Right.
And so that is another thing that a lot of women in general, because women are asked to do a lot of emotional work that they shouldn't have to shoulder in addition to being a partner in a relationship. But Black women in particular, since we're already as Black people at the bottom of this American racism totem pole, to also be burdened by holding up a Black man that's supposed to equally hold us up, but sometimes abuses us as well. That is a terrible place to be as a Black woman. I got to fix you and me and the rest of the world. I do this for a living. I told you I do DE&I on my daily life. I ain't got time to have some dude sit on my couch eating up all my food, telling me about his color. I'm not rated for that. I am not rated for that. There's people that you pay for that. The same way you pay to get a fade, the same way that you pay to get a pedicure, pay to get your mind checked. I'm not your doctor. And asking Black women, there's a few TikToks that going around about this saying, you know, this dude's like, I know I'm toxic. And they're like, are you going to go to therapy? He goes, no, I'm going to keep putting this good D on this woman and then eating up all her food and let her handle our emotional abuse free while I sex her real good and see how long that lasts. And then I'll find another one. And I was like, damn, that's kind of how that goes.
It is, unfortunately.
Hashtag stay toxic. But we can do better collectively. Yes. I love that the younger generations are seeing therapy the same way they see going to the endocrinologist or to get an annual checkup or to the gynecologist, whatever it might be. You need to take care of your brain the same way you take care of your heart, your lungs, everything else.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely, like I said, I absolutely love they touched on that in this movie. Mm-hmm. So like big ups. And yeah, very good points. Very, very good points. So speaking to a fourth movie, if they decide to do a fourth movie, I know as far as his daughter being more or less like a focal point or a side focal point of that film, do you think any other characters in the Creed universe could be other focal points of the movie besides his daughter?
No.
Nah. I mean, that would continue the line of boxing movies.
I mean, then killed off his mama. She ain't and then there's really nobody outside the family that we have that much of an understanding of, you know.
Right, because
they would have to bring in a new person. Mm-hmm.
Right, because when he's snapping at Phylicia Rashad's character, his mom, you know, I'm taking care of you. I do all this, and you kept this person from me for my entire life, and all this other stuff. And then the next time we see her, she's dying because of a second or third stroke at this point.
Right.
We knew she was gonna die when the movie started. The minute they said she had a stroke, I was like, she ain't gonna make it through the season.
So yeah, they you know, in a roundabout, you know, throwaway line type of way, they do mention Apollo's other kids, but you know, where the hell are they? So
kids. So we're spending all of Apollo's money. That's what they're doing. Day jobs.
But they actually they kind of pointed at the daughter wanting to fight a couple of times. So that seems like the obvious.
And he had been training her in secret. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But
I would love to see them age her up instead of maybe 2 or 3 years. and do you know, and it'll be another Creed movie, but it'll be, you know, Creed Evolution or something like that when we're talking to her. Yeah.
Creed Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and even with the training of her, like her mom didn't want her to fight unless she knew the how and the why. It's like, don't just teach her how to fight. Teach her why you're fighting.
Right. It's
So
a Mr. Miyagi moment.
And that relationship, you know, when he catches her hiding out in the gym or whatever, is like, what are you doing back here? Like, I'm watching your fight. You mean you're watching my fight? I've watched all your fights. Oh, you watch all my fights. Okay, show me what you've learned or whatever. It's like, okay, now let me teach you how to throw a punch and teach you why you throw a punch. So he's taking all that to heart. Like, all right, my wife, I shouldn't be training her, but if I am going to train her, let me teach her that, not just the how, but the why as well. So to give her that foundational understanding, because he necessarily didn't look, from what we've seen in these 3 films, he didn't have that foundation. He didn't have the why you fight. He just knew the how to fight. Because again, going back to the first film, anger, frustration. This is me releasing everything pent up in me. I just need to knock somebody out to feel better.
Right.
Sometimes you do need to knock somebody out, though. Sometimes, you know, a whooping is called for, but you know, that's still a why, the time and the place. You know.
Yeah. So yes, I personally agree his daughter could be like a side focal point as far as in, you know, a 4th movie coming out. You know, Ivan Drago's son, definitely not outside of the realm of possibility. Another character that I thought possibly could be, you know, one of those side characters, Felix Chavez, the kid that got knocked out by Dame, or pretty much got, because he's pretty much on an ascension towards being a.
Didn't he already have the title?
He had.
He had a title, but he had it unceremoniously taken away. Like, I mean, pretty much got embarrassed. In the fight that he had with Dame. So pretty much him coming to grips with that and having to fight his way back to either to that point of prominence and possibly dealing with those inner demons. You know, him dealing with that could be something that they touch on.
PTSD of basically almost dying in the ring. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yes, that would be great. Yeah. Maybe not as another beginning of a franchise, but a standalone movie, that would be really, really good.
Yeah.
Can we have a moment though? Because like representation matters for the whole like Talokan Namur moment that he had when he was walking into the ring. I was in the Day of the Dead, Dia de la Ring, the Luchador, all of it. I was here for all of it. I was so excited to see that.
That was pretty cool.
That was so cool. It was so cool. And I love that they let him, even though he was ultimately a minor character in this particular movie. I would love to see more of his story. And I love that they put that in from just from a representation standpoint, because I'm sure there were a whole lot of people, because I'm not Afro-Latina, but I do appreciate all cultures. And when I saw that, I was like, yes, bring it, you know? Yeah. The same way I felt about them using Mesoamerican language, I forget what language it was, in Black Panther. They didn't make that language up. None of the languages are made up in that movie.
Right. Yes, like I know the guy that plays Felix Chavez, Jose, I think his name is Jose Benavidez. He's like he's an actual fighter, so has actual in-ring experience. Like I said, I would love to see, because I know with the success based on the success of this movie, because this grossed the most the entire film franchise. I know they're giving Michael B. Jordan like a huge amount of money to develop either spin-off shows through Amazon, an anime show, and another movie for sure. Cool. So I think that character in particular, I would love to see either an Amazon show, you know, where you have a series of episodes to where you can kind of explore that character, as opposed to having to try to get all that chunk into a 2-hour film or one like a 2-hour film or 1.5-hour film. So I would love to see a series with that character, because again, dealing with the PTSD of not only being embarrassed but almost dying, I think that's huge. And the fact, you know, does he trust Adonis still? Because like that was supposed to be his guy. Like that was his
and
Oscar
the guy
de
that
la
Adonis
Hoya.
vouched for almost killed him.
Yeah.
And his mother was quite a character too, because there's one point where they're asking him if he was going to fight or whatever, and his mother was like, "Yeah, he's," she didn't even give him an opportunity to speak. She's like, "Yeah, he's down." So there's some character in there with her as well,
and exploring that dynamic.
I love what Latoya is saying in the chat when she was saying that she lives in Mexico, and the way he walked in is exactly the way they would celebrate. So again, you have that air of authenticity. It feels so good to me as a person of color to see people of color telling our own stories in our own authentic voice versus us being the caricature of what someone who hasn't lived our experiences thinks our life is like. I'm here for it. I'm here for it all day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
like I said, do mushrooms and be smart. Look at that.
That might be your
whatever you say, Princess School.
Right? You might have to try that and go to work.
I'm focus. I'm focused.
So Sylvester Stallone was obviously missing from this movie. I know a lot of it had to do
Not really. He too he had executive producer credit on the film as well.
On this movie?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. I thought he didn't have anything to do with it on purpose.
Nope. He got executive producer credit. Now, rather he was now executive producer is just a title thrown out there. Doesn't mean you actually produce anything. There are producers who are actually hands-on, and executive producers basically, do things behind the scenes, whether it's funding or contributing or whatever like that.
Okay. She said, Latoya said, I was happy they made a point to say that was his mom. I was concerned for her.
I mean,
hey, she looked good.
There's nothing wrong with Stella's out there getting their groove back. I am all for it. I am all for Stella's getting their groove back.
I mean, have you seen Angela Bassett? Her ass, she look better than me. She got a solid 15 years on me.
Hey, auntie.
No, what was the point I was trying to make? I forgot.
You were talking about Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah. So he was absent from this movie. His character at least was absent from this movie.
Oh, and completely absent to that point because they didn't even mention the name Rocky, which I found funny because the trailers leading up to this film, there is one scene in one of the trailers where he mentions the legacy of Rocky, his dad, and now him. Yeah. But in this film, that scene didn't make the final cut because there was no mention of Rocky in this movie at all.
Right. So personally, I kind of felt a certain kind of way about Sylvester Stallone when he won his supporting role Oscar and didn't thank Ryan Coogler or Michael B. Jordan. So
why are you surprised?
No, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I just felt some kind of way about it because it's like,
well, you got to remember that I know I neither know or know of white people who are married to a person of color, still racist, still supremacist. They don't recognize it because they think to themselves, I have black friends. But then when it comes to something like this, whether it was for a personal, pithy moment or whatever, you don't thank the people that made the whole thing possible because in your mind, you think you made it possible because you're Rocky. Yeah, we don't miss him. And I won't miss him in the future. Yeah. I got nothing against Sylvester Stallone. I don't know him personally as a human being. However, I recognize when somebody's being an asshole. Yeah. And so I'm not here for it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think for me, the fact that his character wasn't in this film and it's, in my opinion, the best film out of the entire franchise says a lot. Mm-hmm. And
think about if he had been in it, there's going to be a specific demand for a certain amount of screen time, which takes away from the development of everything else that we saw. It's not as good of a movie with him in it.
Right.
Which I kind of felt with the second movie because the first movie you get, because Creed is seeking out, Adonis is seeking out the last connection to his dad and goes tracking down Rocky. Okay, you get it in Creed 1. In Creed 2, a lot of the scenes with Rocky felt shoehorned in because of what did he have in the second film? Cancer or some type of lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But he basically had an illness that he was fighting through, and basically Adonis was like, you fight this, I'll get into this ring, whatever. It's like you fight, I'll fight, type thing. So it felt more like a dependency type thing. Like we're making a reason for Rocky to be here.
I also think that this showed that the stories and the characters in this new franchise are standalone. You don't need Rocky there to prop you up. First movie, Rocky has found Apollo's kid out here being a mess. Second movie, the thing between Rocky and Apollo and Drago is hashed out with the kids. There's still this umbrella, this shadow. This Sylvester Stallone casts a long shadow in these movies. The third one, bro, you over there somewhere, we don't know. We doing this now. and this is the best of this trilogy. I'm here for it because it does show you that it's not just a retread or evolution of an old story. I was very worried when I saw what this movie was going to be about. I was worried they were going to pull a Clubber Lang.
Yes.
And do that. And when they didn't do that,
the Majors was going to be like the son of Clubber Lang. Like, wait, we doing this again? Fight another son? Type
Yeah. I'm glad that they didn't, because again, if they were to turn him a Clubber Lang son, essentially you run the risk of him becoming a caricature
of his Mr. T's character. So yes,
so I'm glad that
he's still alive.
Yes, Mr. T is still alive.
Okay, good. You gotta ask something.
So I'm glad.
I reached the age of 49 where I gotta ask, is he still alive? Like it happens more and more nowadays.
Mr. T is still alive. His daughter does stand up.
Does she really?
Yes, Mr. T's daughter does stand up comedy.
What is her name?
I will have to look that up, but a clip went around on a Facebook reel at some point. It was like, yes, I know what y'all thinking. My dad is Mr. T. Yes, that Mr. T. And she continues to tell a joke about growing up with him. So, yeah, she is a stand-up comedian.
I know that. That's pretty dope.
Cool. Good for her.
So since Rocky wasn't in this one, since Sylvester Stallone wasn't in this one, do you think his character appears in any more films?
No.
Whether you get a tombstone,
no.
Gravesite,
no.
I'll give you a gravesite.
No.
I'll give you a gravesite.
Let's put it this way: Rocky could have been dead in this third film, and they still failed to mention it because the only gravesite they've been to is Apollo's.
True. Yeah. No, you're right.
And now that his mom is dead, and they basically buried her next to Apollo.
Rocky is not buried next to them. No.
No. He's not
but you're right. We don't know if Rocky's alive or dead. And I think it's fine to leave it that way. We don't need closure for his story because this is not his arc.
That's true. But he's a part of it, though.
And?
I mean, where's Apollo's other kids then?
The worker ants are part of building the ant hill. The queen doesn't really give two flying flips about them.
No, my only thing is Apollo's other kids aren't a part of the, as far as the Creed art. Apollo's other kids aren't a part of the Creed art.
And
Rocky is.
And Rocky no longer is. He was up until the second movie. And I saw a lot of parallels between what Adrian was saying to him in Rocky 4. You can't win, and the way he was treating Adonis in that movie. Brother, I don't know, you are amazing.
Drago hit me pretty hard. And knock you out here. I don't think you do it.
And I want to be clear that we are not making fun of people with speech impediments. We're making fun of Sylvester Stallone.
Hey, yo, Tommy, my night. I missed the Union Kane character though from Rocky 5. That dude was hilarious.
Union Kane.
He was the Don King knockoff.
So you're like, who?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Union Kane was a boxer in that film. Dude play, what's his name? George Washington something. Shaw, I think George Washington Shaw. Or no, George Washington Duke. George Washington.
Yeah, George Washington Duke. Yeah.
And Latoya, the answer to this question is no more. We do not need him. The umbilical cord has been cut. Or in his case, the vas deferens has been cut. We don't need you no more.
So Latoya, I agree with. So I kind of agree with you. I would just like to see like a nice little But even if it's like a grave site, if it's a grave site, I would just like to see a grave site.
What if there's just a picture of him in an urn in the background when we pass by in the hallway?
I'll take that. I'll take that.
An Easter egg to find in the next movie.
I'll take
the
that.
only Easter egg we need of Rocky is a black and white photo of him and Apollo punching each other from one of the first 2 Rocky films, and that's it. That's all we need. We don't need Sylvester Stallone in any way, shape, or form to pretty much be like, oh, Rocky's dead. I don't care. Again, we went through this whole film with no mention of whether he was alive or dead, and it worked.
So there is a level. So there is a level of politics involved in this from a Hollywood standpoint, because Sylvester Stallone is 107, right? So if Sylvester Stallone happens to pass away before they do something with another, and they make another Creed movie, it would be appropriate to recognize that the actor that played Rocky is no longer with us. That would be appropriate to have some sort of RIP, even if it's his daughter in Creed 4 and she passes by something that says rest in peace Rocky. That would be appropriate, because we don't want to disrespect the legacy that Sylvester Stallone leaves behind with this character that did spawn this universe. You can't be completely disrespectful, but if he's still alive in the next movie, he ain't got to be in it at all.
Nah, not at all. As long as he's breathing, we don't need to mention him at all.
Right. We will have a remember when we need to remember when.
Oh man. So, but yeah, like I said, I think there should be like just a small mention. If you get a photo,
micro letters at the end.
Probably have small letters at the end.
In loving memory, it's small.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
Oh man. So as far as a war contention, because I know it was brought up earlier that this movie possibly could be like Oscar worthy or some award contention. What award do you think? Like, okay, so do you think Jonathan Majors wins or is nominated for a supporting actor, or do you think it's like a best screenplay award? Possibly,
I can see best original screenplay. I can see
actor.
Best director. I can feel that. Even as an ingenue from a director standpoint, a directorial debut, this was like I said, a near perfect movie. I think they're portraying, but again, sometimes Hollywood, because of their bias, misses how perfect this is, because this is not their life experience. The same way when Straight Outta Compton came out, and there was discussions around how good the movie was, and like maybe best original screenplay or at least best score or something. It got nothing. And one of the reasons, and I remember this article because I was mad about it, one of the reasons it didn't get anything is that some of the people who reviewed movies at the time said, I didn't watch it, it was too loud. And so you missed a potential masterpiece because of your own bias against rap music. And so I don't know if we have progressed enough with Oscar So White for that group to recognize the brilliance that comes in this movie, because all they will see is 2 buff black dudes punching each other with some decent dialogue. They won't understand the nuance.
Or just 2 black dudes that weren't slaves.
Right?
Yeah.
And to your point, Joy, even after Oscar So White, with them adding more voters, because it's not like they took votes away from the people who vote in the Academy and took their votes away. They just added more voters to what they feel was enough to dilute the pool to be more diverse, because all the voters they added were of minority backgrounds and women. It's still not enough. Because the voting body is still overwhelmingly, it may not be 70 to 80%, it's still 50% white and male.
Yeah.
But depending on the age range, these new white men is different.
And old. I forgot that part. And old.
Because I feel like someone like a Ryan Gosling or a Ryan Reynolds, any of the Ryans, any of the Chris's, would see this movie and recognize and understand that it was something powerful. Your boy Dirty Harry, not so much. Right.
I feel like this is too much of a pop culture type thing to be recognized for Oscar contention. I mean, I still feel like they picked just the most just the weirdest, just stuff.
Let me tell you something about people, about human beings. We love to be a part of something that we think that we don't deserve to have. And so I've seen poet laureates, I've seen Nobel Prizes, I've seen literature prizes handed out to people whose work is trash because we think that it's too esoteric and too evolved for us to understand. So it must be great. Looking at you, Nikki Giovanni, it should be weird sometimes. And I'm calling out the beloved was trash. All that. And a lot of her books don't make no damn sense, but people feel like I just don't understand it. It must be amazing, or it's trash. I'm saying it. Y'all can come take my black card if you can pry it out my.
You're gonna fight later, Joy. You don't come to Bonnie like that. I love Nikki.
A lot of these indie movies get nominated because people think this is such an elevated, unique, boutique, bespoke event, and they overlook the fact that something like, we're starting to see now, like you would never see a comedy, a horror movie, or an action movie nominated for Best Picture because that was fluff. And we're starting to recognize there's a lot of merit and worthiness in action movies, horror movies, et cetera, et cetera. The same way you never saw, like I saw, was it The World According to Garp?
Yeah.
And that is probably some of the best acting that I ever saw Robin Williams do. And I don't know if he got an Oscar nomination for it, but then he got one for Patch Adams, kind of, like, oh, we throw him a bone. And then he won for Good Will Hunting. Why? Because he wasn't being funny. And they do tend to give Oscars out for, I didn't think you could do that type of thing. Same reason, I know this is going to spark an argument, same reason Halle Berry got an award for Monsters Ball. Not because she was great. Honestly, I didn't think she could act her way out of a paper bag. When I saw that movie, her portrayal in certain aspects touched me. I ended up crying about some of the stuff that she was doing and saying, because I understood. Like people get all in their feelings about that whole make me feel good moment. If you've never felt so terrible that you would do anything to get the pain to stop, you don't understand what she was trying to portray in that moment. Now, we take all that away. They gave her that Oscar because they didn't think she could do it. They gave Denzel Washington the Oscar for Training Day because they didn't think he could be a bad guy. And so doing something that's one of the reasons I don't think Angela Bassett won, because we already see Angela Bassett as a queen.
Right.
They couldn't conceive of the fact that this was a stretch for her because they see her that way anyway. The same reason Denzel hasn't won for a lot of his really, really good work, because we already expect Denzel to be Malcolm X. Right.
He should have won for Hurricane.
He should have won. Oh, he should have won for Hurricane. I'm still mad about that.
Great movie.
Yeah. To your point, this film gets nominated. Yes, win, different story because of the voting body. I mean, look, and hate to poke the bear with this one, but Anything, Everywhere, All at Once.
They are higher than I am when they did that movie.
Look, that was a phenomenal movie from beginning to end. Performances were wonderful.
You need to be.
But why do you find the one lone white character in that film to give?
You know why?
Acting, not a supporting actress nod to, when the true supporting actress in that film was Stephanie Sue.
I knew when Jamie Lee Curtis didn't win the Golden Globe, when they gave the Golden Globe to Angela Bassett, I knew that Jamie Lee Curtis was about to get that Oscar.
Because that's the thing. I'm not mad Angela didn't win. I'm more mad that Jamie Lee Curtis got nominated.
I'm mad for both.
Yeah.
Like if Stephanie Sue had won, I would have been okay. Because she was nominated as well. But my thing is, why is Jamie Lee Curtis nominated also?
Right.
A film about an Asian family and their dynamic being in this country, and then you add the whole nuance of the multiverse and everything, and turns out the villain is her own daughter, who was right there. Right there.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis has like 3 scenes in this entire film.
Right.
3.
But Jamie Lee Curtis is half of Hollywood's grandmama. You know what I'm saying? Can't take that personal bias out of it.
Y'all the SNL sketch when they were spoofing this, when they basically made up a whole bunch, they were spoofing the Oscars, and they made up all these titles of black films. It was like Malcolm Day, the story of one black man's rise from poverty to the riches of the world, all to see it come crumbling back down. and nominated for an actor is this dude who played the garbage man in the background, happened to be white, and then they show the audience, and you see the cast member who's the star sitting beside that actor right beside him, and like the actor's like, I shouldn't be here, and the black person clapping like, angrily looking at him like, that's what the Oscars is now. It's like no matter what we do, and I'm just saying like any minority-led film. From top to bottom with all minority cast, doesn't matter what the ethnicity is. If there is one white person in it, no matter how mediocre the job is that they do, they will get nominated.
Yeah. There's some merit to that, but if that were the case, then we would have had a nomination, some Golden Globe, SAG Award, something for your boy, the Hobbit that was in Black Panther.
Martin Freeman.
Yes. And I really like Martin Freeman. I think he's an excellent actor. My favorite role of him is as Watson. But Teresa, you were going to say something and we cut you off.
I don't know.
You were going to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis, maybe in the audience.
Oh no, I was just going to say that Jamie Lee Curtis has played better roles.
Yeah,
she has had better performances
and the
more Oscar worthy.
And she didn't really step up
those makeup awards, because let's be real, Whoopi Goldberg, hands down, deserved an Oscar for The Color Purple. That is a travesty that she didn't win. And so they made up. The only other time she ever got nominated was for Ghost, where she didn't do anything. Ghost was a trash movie. In my opinion, it was fluff.
It was fluff.
Girl, you in danger.
They had a chance to make up for that. And the reason she didn't win for Color Purple is because they were making up something to the woman that won that year because they had messed over her. They're always playing catch up.
Yeah. And that's the problem with the Oscars.
It's done by humans.
Playing catch up. And Color Purple is still a tragedy for it to be nominated for literally every freaking award available at the time. Literally every award, and win absolutely nothing. It was giving lie to the thing people always say about it's just an honor to be nominated. I'm hearing that
bullshit.
Statistically speaking, they should have won
Spielberg.
And Angela.
Spielberg would have gotten an award because Spielberg did The Color Purple, and he got nothing. So the Oscars can't catch up. I don't. As much as I want to say, this could be a movie this year that turns the tide. As far as us winning more awards, I'm not holding my breath.
We would have to start a petition to get him nominated. What's your girl, Brienne of Tarth? She started her own petition to get nominated for a Golden Globe for her role in Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yes.
Yeah, we're going to come with that kind of energy,
Yeah, because I honestly think Creed 3 is one of the better movies thus far this year.
Yes,
one of the better movies thus far this year. And then looking at the film slate for movies we're gonna get, the film slate of movies we're gonna get this year, even in the month of March and April, I still think it's one of the top 5 movies of this year so far.
And the box office has proven that people are going to see it, right?
But the Academy's never really cared about who goes to see what at the box office.
Absolutely not.
One of the things that changed the Grammys so much is they started paying attention to downloads as opposed to just record sales, and it changed the demographics of who was nominated for awards. If they did viewings and ticket sales in addition to sentiment, you would see something very different. You'd have almost all Marvel movies nominated for something. Shout out to the girl who got the costume design award.
Ruth Carter.
Ruth Carter. Thank
you. Who got it again?
I was about to say
she
Carter.
Definitely deserved it.
Wait, what? Latoya, have you seen John Wick?
She has seen John Wick.
Oh man, I can't wait.
She has seen.
I'm looking forward to it. We're going to see it Saturday. It's going to be great.
I can't do it again. I can't step outside my box another time. I went to see Creed. I'd never seen a Creed. I went to see Creed just so I could participate in the conversation. I've never seen a John Wick. I can't do it.
It's okay.
Why not?
Never have you seen so much death and murder over a dog in a car.
They could call it bang, bang, shoot, shoot. It's great. It's great. And you know what? Keanu is the weirdest action star. I've never seen an action star with no muscle tone. But
he's weird, and I do love Keanu, but I can't do it.
I love Keanu Reeves. There's something about he's got that same je ne sais quoi as who's the other guy I'm in love with from Jurassic Park, the weird teacher. The professor.
Jurassic
Jeff
Park.
Goldblum.
Goldblum.
Daddy Goldblum.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum. Daddy Goldblum got that same kind of energy of you ain't never worked out a day in your life. But God damn it, I don't know what it is about you, but I like it. Yes.
No, I'm looking forward to next weekend Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I'm gonna see that too. That's gonna be good. I'd be interested to see that go on.
Yeah.
Zaddy is 58
Saturday.
That ain't
Wait,
nothing.
Keanu Reeves is 58?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Keanu? Latoya, who's 58?
Keanu Reeves is not 58.
No.
I thought she meant Jeff Goldblum was 58.
Goldblum is older than 58.
Goldblum's in his
58.
I thought Goldblum was in his 60s.
He might
be. Me too.
It don't matter. Age ain't number the number once you get past 40 anyway. So
Jeff Goldblum has got the Silver Fox thing going for him. So.
Right. The apartments.com's commercials are hilarious though.
All right, so I say
Keanu
is 58. Okay.
Oh, wow, yeah, he is.
Well, yeah, he's looking good.
Yeah.
So on scale of 1 to 10, what
10.
would you get? All right, 10.
What was the question?
James, what you got? What you got, James?
9.5. 9.5. I'm reserving 10s for later on in the year, but so far 9.5. If nothing else pans out better than 10.
High.
Yeah. Teresa, you said so high.
With my 10. If something comes along better than this, I'll have to give it an 11. But I stand on the fact that I thought this was a near perfect movie. I loved everything about it.
Yeah.
Everything.
Teresa, what do you think?
I didn't fall asleep. It 6.5.
6.5.
It really wasn't my kind of thing.
Okay, well that's understandable.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't give any boxing movie more than a 7, then 6.5 is a really good score.
I wouldn't give any boxing movie more than a 4 because I don't care about boxing at all.
Ali?
No, I don't care about boxing. Mm-hmm. I have not seen Ali.
Ali was a very damn good film.
Mm-hmm.
Very good movie.
I basically saw this for Jonathan Majors.
I understand. So you and I both looking forward to Magazine Dreams because he had to get extremely chiseled to be a perfected body.
Yes.
He still got the right face, but that body.
I don't mind the face.
The body
I don't mind it.
Yeah, buzz from what was it? I think it's at one of the film festivals it was at. They said Jonathan Majors acted his ass off for Magazine Dreams.
Oh, cool.
I'm excited to see it off the strength of that because he was really good in
that he ends up with maybe 2 nominations, one for acting and one for supporting actor.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he acted his clothes off, but
well, he starts with his clothes off. Look, let the women have this moment.
I am. That's what I'm saying. I'm shutting up.
You know how many full frontal nudity shots I've had to sit through in my lifetime just to get to Jonathan Majors in a bikini? Let me have this.
No, I will say I thought this movie was a 10, and again I really love Jonathan Majors acting in the movie. I mean, just as an actor. His like the Ebony magazine shoot that he did, the arc of the interviews that he's had. I love that he's able to express his masculinity.
I love the manhood.
And as a spectrum of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely love that. Like you don't have to be hard to be a man. You have a softer side. The fact that him and Michael B. Jordan shared a hug.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they are as close as excuse me. I hope they are as close as Hollywood would have us think with the photo shoots and stuff. I hope they're good friends and they can, hug each other.
They seem to be good friends. I remember Michael B. Jordan saying that he lost a brother in Chadwick and he found another one.
Yeah.
The speech that Jonathan Majors gave at I think is Michael B. Jordan's Hollywood Walk of Fame, the star thing that he gave that was really dope. Listening to this in my
the tribute to Angela after she didn't win the award. Hey auntie, we love you.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was really dope. So I thought the movie was a 10. Jonathan Majors acted his ass off. This one, Michael B. Jordan, really good directorial debut, and I'm hoping to see a lot more from him as a director. So
absolutely, yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, y'all guilted me into giving it a 7.
We understood that your 6.5 was on a curve. So on the curve, it's a
hard curve.
One of them Georgia Tech curves. Is this out of 50? Yeah.
Oh man. So I was say,
so we passed our 5-minute warning about 7 minutes ago.
Right.
Moana is like, wrap it up.
Right. She's playing music right now.
Getting kind of late.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to close out the show. Bro, Kyle.
Kyle is like, you are.
I thought you froze. My bad. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say, so I just want to thank everybody for coming out to talk about this movie. It was again an amazing movie. Thought it was great. And Joy, thank you for the laughs. As always. And thank you for everyone tuning in. I guess it's a really, really great discussion, and looking forward to our next discussion. Is that next week?
Mm-hmm.
Next week?
Is it? I think it's the week after.
The week after next?
Shazam, I believe, is the week after.
Okay, yeah.
Because I definitely have thoughts about that movie. So yeah.
We all have thoughts about that film.
Right.
Yes.
I didn't fall asleep.
The Teresa seal of approval, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't
right.
I stayed awake. 2 eyes up, right?
Right.
So that being said, we are gonna end the podcast here. So do we leave you here, or is Moana coming back, or that's how you
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii in a perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left have to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell, then we will.